Hey guys, what's going on? Michael White here, your favorite developer. When you decide you want to learn how to code, there's typically three routes people take. One, the four-year computer science degree. Two, a coding bootcamp. Or three, the self-taught route. Now, if you guys are new to the channel, I'm all about the self-taught route. I made a monthly series covering my first month of learning how to code all the way through to my ninth month of learning how to code where I got my first developer job. So if that's something you guys are interested in seeing, I'll have a link to that series down below. I'm all about the self-taught route, but it isn't perfect. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the pros and the cons of pursuing the self-taught route. And no, I'm not going to bring up that accountability bullshit people like to bring up, because if you want to be successful in almost any career, you have to have accountability and self-discipline. That goes without saying. If you want to make it, regardless of whether or not you're going to a boot camp, a college, or you're doing the self-taught route, you need to be accountable and you need to have self-discipline. So I'm not taking that into consideration for anything. So when I decided I wanted to learn how to code, one of the big things for me was cost. A coding bootcamp costs anywhere from $5,000 to $50,000. Didn't have it. Four-year degree, you're looking at like $100,000. I'm not comfortable dropping that, and I really don't want to have any student loans drag me down. So what's the alternative? Pursuing the self-taught route for free 99. Well, really, it probably cost me about $40 in Udemy courses, but I mean, you can be the judge on that one. $40 versus, $40,000 or $100,000. Financially speaking, the self-taught route was the most bang for my buck. I was also working full-time when I made the decision to start coding, so my schedule played a big part in it. Now, when you pursue the self-taught route, you're free to make whatever schedule you wanted. I worked mid-shift, so I worked from 2 to 8, Monday through Friday. So I could have attended college classes in the morning, but I've already ruled out college as an option. And almost every bootcamp schedule I looked at would have conflicted with my work schedule. Even the half-day boot camps I saw, the half days were usually in the evenings when I'd be at work. So even if I wanted to, my schedule just didn't align. Being self-taught, I was able to code from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every single day. That was like my dedicated coding block. If I woke up earlier and got my workout out of the way earlier, I would jump on, at 9 o'clock maybe. But typically, 10 to 2 was like, that was my block. Another thing that makes the self-taught route really cool is that you're free to learn whatever you want. College courses and boot camps tend to teach in a very generalized way. They teach you a wide variety of things. They'll teach you different languages. They'll teach you front end, back end, different aspects of computer science and web development and programming. You'll learn a lot. You become a very good generalist. But being self-taught allows you to become a specialist in certain things. And let's say you only want to learn how to code to be able to use Python to scrape websites. Well, instead of spending $5,000 to $50,000 on a boot camp and getting all this information you don't need, you could just spend a couple of weeks getting comfortable with Python and learning how to scrape websites, and then you're good. You got what you needed. All you want to learn is front-end development. You don't need to learn anything else. You can cut right to the meat of what you want to learn and get it done. Now, the most attractive part about being self-taught is that you're free to learn at your own pace. Let's say you want to make a big career change. You can learn to code as fast as you want. If you want to spend 8 hours a day learning how to code, you can do that. If you feel like you understand a concept within 20 minutes of learning it and you're comfortable, you can move on to the next thing. There's no testing period. There's no curriculum. There's no syllabus. Once you pick up something and you understand it, you can move on to the next thing when you're ready. Or you can slow down. If something's complicated and it's not clicking with you right away, there's no rush to understand and get it done. You can take your time. You can play around with the ideas. You can do more research. You can read more documentation, and there's no hurry. There's no test. There's no grade weighing over your head, putting that pressure on you to understand this. You can take your time and make sure you really understand it. And that goes a long way in keeping your outlook on learning positive. It's so easy to get burnt out and stressed out when you're putting yourself under all that pressure, like you have to learn this or you're not going to pass your test. Once you take tests out of the equation and that timeline and the pressure, you're learning because you want to learn, and you're doing it your way under your time. And for me, that's like ultimate freedom right there. That's one of the best parts about being self-taught, is that there was no pressure. Sure, there was the pressure that I was putting on myself because I wanted to change careers by the end of the year, but that's a different kind of pressure, Now, as great as the self-taught route is, it does come with some pretty big cons. The first being, you do not get access to a network at all. So if you go to school or you go to a boot camp, you get access to peers, right? Classmates. Odds are you're going to become friends with some of those classmates. They go off and get jobs. And then you have people working in the field that you can always reach out to, and, it may lead to an opportunity one day. It may lead to you learning a new technology. It will provide you some benefit. Not only that, but you get access to teachers. And a teacher could be that mentor figure that guides you along your path, pushes you in the right direction, make sure you're learning the right things, and could also open a ton of other doors for you in the future and give you recommendations. Now, just because you're in a situation where you're surrounded by those people doesn't mean you're guaranteed to get a strong network. You do have to put in the work and talk to those people and make those connections, but you have access to all those people. When you pursue the self-taught route, you don't get any of that. None of that. You're on your own. If you want to make a network on the self-taught route, you got to put yourself out there, like me here on the YouTube. All right. That's how you build a network. It is definitely a little bit harder, but it's still possible. A lot of people say go to meetups. I started learning how to code during the whole pandemic, so there hasn't been like a lot in terms of meetups going on or public outings in general. So I don't know about that life. I built my network through YouTube, Twitter, and Discord. That's my network. Also, when you pursue the self-taught route, there will be a lot of doors that are just closed for you, that are open if you have a 4-year computer science degree. So many jobs use that degree, as a way to gatekeep people, keep people unqualified from applying. Sure, less companies are doing it now, but it's definitely still going on. Like I just wrapped up my job hunt, 2-3 months ago? And yeah, there's a lot of gatekeeping with degrees out there. Sure, I still applied and, I ended up getting a job, but having that degree will open a ton of doors for you and get you access to offers and opportunities that you wouldn't have without that degree. Like a degree with no experience will carry more weight than somebody self-taught. And you're self-taught, you really got to work on how you're going to stand out. That's the trickiest part about being self-taught, is how do you stand out and how do you make yourself competitive with somebody with a 4-year degree or a boot camp. The 4-year degree weighs more than the boot camp, but the boot camp carries more weight than self-taught. When you pursue the self-taught route, you got to be ready to get creative with breaking down those doors and finding your opportunities. Now, the self-taught route offers no structure. There is no hand-holding. There is nobody like saying, this is what you need to learn. This is what we're going to learn this month. There's none of that. It's on you to figure out what you want to learn, and then it's on you to find the sources that you need to learn it. Luckily, there is a wealth of information out there on the internet. I have videos covering some really good web development resources if you guys are interested in those. Outside of that, it's on you to find that. I had to stumble across everything I found on my own. Nobody said, here, check this out. You know what I mean? Sometimes what you find just doesn't click with you. Sometimes the materials that you find or the videos that you're watching, they just don't resonate with you. It doesn't mesh. And it can be real disheartening. It can make you feel like you're not learning anything, but odds are if you try something new, try a new source of information out, watch a new YouTuber, something will click eventually, right? It's on you to find that. It's also on you to gauge whether or not you're comfortable with something or whether or not you grasp something. So you have to learn how to be honest with yourself and make honest assessments and say, hey, is this good? Or hey, do I understand this? Or, even start reaching out to people and making those connections so you can have another set of eyes on your work. But that's, again, all on you. Like, you're not going to have access to teachers. You can't go ask your teacher, hey, does this look good? There is no teacher. You're your own teacher. So you got to find ways of getting your work, I don't want to say verified, but just making sure your work is what it's meant to be. You know what I mean? And probably the worst and most daunting part about being self-taught is that there's no end. When you start going to college for a computer science degree, you pretty much know your graduation date. Right? Same with the boot camp. You know when the boot camp ends. So you can plan around that end date and know when you should start sending out applications and, you just had that end in mind. When you're self-taught, that doesn't exist. There is no end date. There is no, I'm done officially here on this day, I should start applying. None of that. There is no light at the end of the tunnel. You have to make that light. You have to judge for yourself whether or not you're ready, gauge your skills, gauge your progression, and figure out when you think would be a good time to start applying. Now, I'll give you my honest advice on that. It's always better to start applying before you think you're ready because honestly, you'll never think you're ready. I still don't think I'm ready, and I have a job as a developer, and I still don't think I'm ready, but that's natural. So when you're self-taught, you have to make that end date. You have to create that light at the end of the tunnel. You have to say, hey, I'm going to start applying by this time, or by this time, I'm going to have a job as a developer. And don't tell me that's accountability because it's not, even though it kind of is. But yeah, those are the pros and cons of being a self-taught developer. I based all these off my own personal experiences, so there may be some bias in there, here or there. That's just how I feel, If you're watching this and you're self-taught, Let me know in the comments some of the pros and cons you guys have experienced. I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this video up here. If you guys like the video, do please like and subscribe. I'll appreciate it. It'll warm my heart. A link to our community Discord is down below. There's like 110 of us now. We're growing by the day in the Discord and in our YouTube channel. It's awesome to see. I love that our community is growing. You guys are all awesome. Let's keep the conversations rolling, all right? I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.